We're into the fast lane now for some track and field on the Sportsmax Zone. After 4 bronze medals at the world and Olympic level, Shericka Jackson seems to be on a path to land a maiden individual global gold medal following her sublime sprint double triumph at the Jamaica Track and Field Championship, which ended in Kingston on Sunday. Now here's Ricardo Chambers with some of the biggest moments from the 4-day event.
Shericka Jackson became the 3rd fastest woman ever over 200 meters with a scorching performance in Kingston on Sunday night. The 27-year-old dismissed reigning Olympic champion Elaine Thompson-Herah and 2013 world champion Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. She crossed the line in 21.55 seconds, just 200th shy of Thompson-Herah's national record, 21.53. Thompson-Herah 22.05 and Fraser-Pryce 22.14. Both season's best efforts finished 2nd and 3rd respectively. Jackson, whose previous best was 21.81 seconds, was asked about the possibility of breaking Florence Griffith-Joyner's world record of 21.34. Her response with a laugh, "I have 3 weeks." Sunday night's victory completed a stunning weekend for the 3-time global medalist over 400 meters. On Friday, she won the 100 in a brilliant 10.77 seconds, beating Kemba Nelson 10.88 and Thompson-Herah 10.89. Fraser-Pryce, who ran 10.70 in the heats, stopped after only a few strides in her semi-final, satisfying a rule which required her to compete to be able to contest the 200 meters. Yohan Blake was another highlight at the meet. The 2nd fastest man in history at both 100 and 200 meters upset pre-meet favorite Blake Seville in the shorter sprint, Blake winning in 9.85, his fastest time since 2012. Seville was 2nd in 9.88 with Akeem Blake 3rd in 9.93.
It really means a lot. My father got strokes a couple of days ago, and I just come out here to do it for him. I've been in a disarray all week, and I just been keeping strong.
Blake was denied the sprint double though, losing the 200 meters to American-born Andrew Hudson. Hudson, who has switched allegiance from the USA to Jamaica, won in a season's best 20.10 with Blake 2nd in 20.31. In the men's sprint hurdles, Olympic champion Hansa Parchment secured victory, but the former world and Olympic champion Omar McLeod finished last in a time of 13.54 seconds, meaning he misses a 2nd consecutive global championship. He also missed out on the Olympic Games in Tokyo last year. The standout in the junior section was World Under 20 100 champion Tina Clayton. The Edwin Allen athlete became the first locally trained Jamaican high schooler to break 11 seconds, racing to a Jamaican Under 20 record, 10.96.
Yeah, thanks, Ricardo. We are joined now by our in-house track and field analyst, Leighton Levy. Leighton, let me start here, because coming into the 2022 track and field season and people talking about the FloJo world records being threatened, 10:49 and 21:34, it was Elaine Thompson-Herah that was being designated as the person to best challenge. Is this switch over now to Shericka Jackson being best placed to test these world records justified?
Yes, in the sense that what she did this weekend tells you that right now she's made a big step forward in terms of the levels that we've come to expect from a Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce and Elaine Thompson-Herah. Shericka Jackson has now joined that rank. She is now in that pantheon of great Jamaican women sprinters and global sprinters, because her performances this weekend moves her up to number 4 all time as the best female combination sprinter. Only Marion Jones, FloJo, and Marita Kopp have are ranked higher than she is now. She's actually surpassed Shawnee Miller-Weibo. So based on the strength of those performances, I think people would think now that she has taken the lead. She's a forerunner now to challenge world records that I still think will be intact at the World Championships.
Yeah, last national championships we saw Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce do the double in Kingston, but it was Elaine Thompson-Herah that did the double at the Tokyo Olympics. Shericka Jackson is, in spite of her tremendous current form, unproven globally. She's up against others who are proven. in the form of Tom Sahira and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. We discussed last week, Leighton, the fact that these global events here are much closer to the national championships than we had ever seen before. So here's where I'm going. Is there enough time for Tom Sahira and Fraser-Pryce to lift their performances to match or surpass those that we are seeing from Shericka Jackson?
In the 100, yes. In the 200, I'm not quite sure, because when you look at what Shericka Jackson did in the 200, this is not just the fastest time in the world this year. This is the third fastest time in history. And it was done with zero wind. When you consider that most of these races are usually run, the legal races with the aid of a wind up to 2.1 meters per second, the fact that there was no wind down the home stretch, and she's run at 21.55, suggests that with a wind of anywhere from 1 to 1.5, she's in the 21.4 category. I'm not sure either Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce or Elaine Thompson-Hera is at that level right now. Certainly in the 100, I think she's capable of running 10.6. That 25-minute delay on Friday night, I think robbed Jamaica of another spectacular performance from not just Shericka, but also Kemba Nelson and Elaine Thompson-Hera and Brenna Williams. So I think what we're looking at here is what we've seen from Shericka Jackson is suggesting that right now she might be as good as anybody who's ever run the 100 and 200 for Jamaica in history, not just this year.
Yes, Leighton, and just at the start of the 100 meter, there was a lengthy delay. Any information based on your sources as to, what had caused it, just so our viewers could be up to date?
I think there was a delay because there are some issues with the starter's gun, and the athletes weren't hearing the starter's gun. Because they know the starter is closer to lane 1 than it is to lane 8, than he is to lane 8. So to make the start fairer, it's necessary to ensure that all the athletes here are going at relatively the same time. So they had that problem. They clearly didn't seem to have a backup system in place. So there was this protracted delay, which I think was not only embarrassing, but it certainly impacted all the athletes that I spoke with afterwards. Said it has had some impact on their performance. Kemba Nelson said, yes, it did affect her, but her coach actually had given her some advice prior to coming to Jamaica that she shouldn't let circumstances like these impact what she came to do. Brenna Williams was clearly put off by Elaine Thompson-Hera. Told me that had it not been for the fact that she needed to qualify, she would have walked away. So it was a bit of an issue here, and I think it's just another glitch that makes people not trust the starting systems and the starters that are employed by the J3s for these championships.
Yes, Leighton, and my producer is making me aware that there's also a backup system, and that also didn't work.
Well, I don't know. It's crazy. The reality is that if it didn't work, means that I don't know what the program is in terms of maintaining the standard of this equipment and ensuring that it works properly. Because this is a major championships. As Elaine Thompson said, this is not a development meet. This is the major championships. Athletes their bonuses, their careers, their futures rely heavily on these performances, and as such, it's on the onus should be on the J3s to ensure that their equipment is in proper working order before the start of these championships. And these things seem to continue to happen. We go back to 2019 the fiasco at the end of the championships, the 100-meter hurdles for women. That event wasn't even run because of the issues that they've continued to have. And again, despite the assurances of Ludlow Watts at the press conference last week, here we are again.
Right. Well, we're going to switch gears now, and this time we'll talk about Yohan Blake, who returned with that 100-meter win. What did you make of his performance?
Well, I've been saying it all year, that I think that Yohan Blake has shown signs that he was ready to go sub-10 again. I thought the main problem with him was in his own mind, whether or not he trusted his body enough to be able to push himself to those levels once more. And based on the information I got going in, that he was ready to do that. Actually, he was ready to do that weeks ago. So to see him come and run 3 sub-10 times and look really impressive, 985 in the final, upsetting the favorite Oblique Seville. And of course, notwithstanding the second place finish in the 200, he looks like his confidence is back to where it used to be. The one Yohan Blake that we used to know is back. And I think with the additional 3 weeks of tapering towards the World Championships in Oregon, we could see him go even faster once the World Championships begin. I was very impressed by his performances. I'm very pleased because for years people have been calling for him to retire. And I've been saying to them, you don't tell somebody who has been that good for that long to retire just because you're having a bad run of it. And he's come and justified himself and redeemed himself in the eyes of many. And I think he's now ready to run fast again in a way that will make him competitive, not just locally, but on the global stage as well.
Yeah, Leighton, a couple of other issues here coming out of the championship. We know how competitive sprint hurdling is in Jamaica at this current time. We saw Hansa Parchment, the reigning Olympic champion, looking smooth and flawless in his victory. But Omar McLeod, former world and Olympic champion, finishing last in the event and failing to make the team. Disappointment again after the Tokyo trials last year, where he didn't make it either. How shattering would that be for him?
Pretty difficult. I think it would be pretty shattering for him, primarily because, Lance, his explanation was that because remember, he pulled out of a race just before he came to the national championships. I think it was a Diamond League meeting, and he said that he had lost a cousin and he had some other personal issues that impacted him mentally. And I appreciate that, and I understand that, and I empathize. The thing is that this is not unique to this year. This has been going on since about 2019, if you remember, the World Championships. Where leading up to the World Championships, he was under pressure. He would fault and edge to his right and crash out of races. And then we saw what happened in the final, where he, under pressure from Grant Holloway, did the same thing, crashed out and finished at the back of the pack. And then, and the reality is for Omar is that it goes beyond the loss of a relative and that emotion that he would have been going through now, because I think these issues have been plaguing him for the last 3 years. If you remember, Omar McLeod has changed coaches now 4 times in about 5 years. All of these changes, all of these issues that he's been going through have played their role in ensuring that he's become more fragile mentally. Yeah. Okay, you're Olympic champion, you're world champion, you're world indoor champion. Yeah. You don't all of a sudden become that fragile unless there's a lot of uncertainty in what your technique is and your abilities. And I think that's what the overarching issue is, notwithstanding the issue with his the loss of his family member now. Yeah. I think the issues go well beyond that.
Okay, understood. 2 quick things before we go, because time is going on us now, Leighton. Tajay Gale landed very badly. He is the reigning champion in the long jump. Any update on his injury, and will he be okay?
I haven't had any definitive updates. What we do know is that when you saw that jump, you knew that it was going to be bad, because he jarred his knee in such a bad way. It was painful to watch. And I suspect that we might not see him for the World Championships, because, knee injuries are knee injuries. And when you jar your knee that bad, that you remember he's had knee issues prior to, I don't hold up much hope that we'll see him in Oregon in 3 weeks.
Yeah. We did have a report earlier this morning that suggested that medically the signs look positive. So I guess in the coming days we'll hear more about that. Tina Clayton, national under-20 record, smashing Brianna Williams' mark at 10.96. Pretty special, this young Edwin Allen sprinter, isn't she?
Every time she impresses you, you think she can't do anything better to impress you. She does something else. 10.96 is ridiculous. Brianna Williams' 10.97 was a pretty good time, but she took it down pretty easily. We saw signs of that at Champs earlier this year, where had it not been for the minus 2.8 win in the Class 1 final, she might have gone under 10 seconds, under 11 seconds there. But to see her do it in the manner in which she did it was nothing short of breathtaking. And I think it's actually stole the thunder of a number of the senior events on that night, because I mean, 10.96 is 10.96. That's I think she's the 5th fastest all-time in that age group now. And of course, the new national record holder. Completely impressive performance.
Okay, Leighton, stay with us because we still have some more track and field to talk about, the US Nationals, and we'll be hopping over to TNT as well to have a look at what happened over the weekend with their nationals as well. Back with more on The Zone after this.
Thank you for watching SportsMax on YouTube. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell to stay informed.